We are live.
All right, we are live once again. Welcome to the Neurotic Podcast. This is for Legion Season 1 finale. And I am one of your co-hosts. I am Dennis Bithoulkas down in San Diego. And with me, as always, my lovely assistant in San Francisco, Gary Buechler. How you doing, Gary?
What up, party people? How you doing?
I'm doing good.
Good.
Yeah, this is a long time coming. I know we were supposed to do this with John, and John disappeared. He got sucked into
John,
the down under.
yeah, he's up in a winery in Sebastopol, living the hard life. I think he's picking grapes. Last time I heard, picking grapes.
You sure he hasn't been co-opted now that Trump's built the wall and not allowing immigrants in, and now they're just co-opting labor?
Well, they just shouldn't let Irish people in. I was against that from the beginning.
Sorry, there's a blazing saddle for protecting you, but it's very, very
everybody
racist.
with the Irish. Yeah, he's actually like, I could actually drive up to his house and punch him in the face in like a half hour if I wanted to, but I wouldn't do that to my little John boy. He's doing good. Yeah, sorry, we've been lagging on the podcast this week, ladies and gentlemen, but both John is planning a wedding and he went on a road trip with his boys, and I went on a road trip with my family and just got back like 3 o'clock this morning. So,
and I didn't go anywhere.
You didn't go anywhere. You went to work because somebody's got to make money for us. Yeah, which I got to do tomorrow. Oh well, but yeah, I saw Legion on my phone. I watched Legion on my phone in a hotel room in Idlewild, California, where I went to a wedding. So I drove like 2,000 miles on my road trip. It's pretty gnarly.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty gnarly. My car got fucked up in a sandstorm. There was a sandstorm in SoCal last Thursday. I'd never been in a sandstorm before. And we got a phone alert saying, hey, shouldn't drive. And I'm like, how bad could it be? 80-mile-an-hour winds, ladies and gentlemen. 80-mile-an-hour winds with 10 feet visibility. And I was driving through the Mojave Desert. So it was interesting, to say the least. The wife and I, we're having some moments. It's a good thing we've been married for a long time.
So moral of that story is, when your phone tells you to get off the goddamn road, get off the goddamn
road. Right on, brother. So I saw Legion on my phone, but I watched it twice. So that's like almost watching it like on a computer screen, right?
Yep.
So it was fucking amazing.
Yes.
It was fucking amazing. It went full comic book.
It did. We had David confronting his demon, if you will, and finding out that it's been with him since he was a baby. And we had the guy who's only known as the interrogator. We don't actually get his first name at all, who David had burned in the second episode, I believe, of the season.
Yep.
And he survived. We got to see a little bit of his backstory and his partner and his adopted son, and how he used those couple of weeks to come back from the serious injuries that David caused him. And it looks like they're working together, or they're going to be working together.
Well, I thought that was a really interesting and well done turn.
Yes.
That you took this random unnamed character, humanized him in 5 minutes of storytelling. And you're like, by the end of the 5 minutes, you're like, I love this dude.
Yeah.
I
didn't love him. I liked him, but
I know I was totally down. I got, it just put out, it puts it on the side. Okay, we all want to root for the superheroes, right? But if there were about 19 or 20 mutants in this world, let's just try to bring it into our world, and they were higher in the food chain than us, believe me, we'd be on the human side. All of us would be. And it would suck, but you don't want to be a slave to some mind mutant, especially, a guy like a world breaker, which they call, which Legion is. Although he has not been called Legion.
No, he's just been called David.
And the reason he's called Legion is he's named after the demon who was actually, we are Legion, which was actually, what the hell was that? It sounds like it was, yeah. Well, it's Legion is in It's the demon that possessed in The Exorcist. I am Legion. We are many. So it's a lot of demons in one. But it was a great origin story. But back to the interrogator, he reminded me a lot of Mr. Glass from Unbreakable with the cane. Looks like he could be set up as a super villain, but at first when I heard you mention in our last podcast, we did the Expanse podcast, I heard you mention kind of like where they went with that. I'm like, that's fucking weird, and I didn't think it was a good idea. And then I watched it, I'm like, oh man, that was great. And I don't think it wasted time at all. And it was a great setup. I do have one complaint about this episode, but we'll get to that later. But this one, I've seen online, and I really, Dennis, I try to stay away. I do not watch other podcasts anymore. I don't want to be influenced in any way, especially since we're semi-blowing up here. And I want my opinion to be unfiltered as possible. So I went back and read, and there's a lot of people who are saying this got off to a slow start. Now, aside from that really bad second episode, I don't think it's been slow at all. I totally disagree.
Yeah.
I think this is a really artsy TV series. It's super artsy, and
it's very
it's not for everybody. It is. And the thing is, that's what comic books are, though. I mean, and I think that's the one bad thing Marvel has done. Marvel has been very linear about their storytelling, which is great, but we got to grow past that. We do, and this is the next step to me in the evolution of this kind of storytelling. Is getting a little more stylistic, because that's what a comic book is. You can have John Romita was a great artist, but he was a very linear, great artist. And, when I was a kid, I would look at Ditko and hate it. I would go, God, that's his shit. His people are weird. And Kirby, I didn't like Kirby either. I'm like, his people are boxy. And what the fuck is all these circles everywhere? And then when I grew up and got sophisticated, I realized that, oh shit, they're geniuses. And I was just a kid and didn't understand it, I think that's kind of where we're at. This is a Ditko show, right?
Yeah, it's very much
Sienkiewicz show. Bill Sienkiewicz.
It's many different levels, because that's why you have the astral plane.
Yep.
And you have all these different levels of consciousness, I guess you could say. And it's really hard to show that. And I think this show is actually doing a good job of portraying these different levels of consciousness, if you will.
Oh, definitely. I think they did their homework on,
Oh yeah. Definitely. And it's just, I don't know. I really dig the show. Like we both said, the second episode lost both of us pretty far. It was pretty bad. But then it picked it up again. And we even said, I think early on, that this season needed to set up a whole bunch of things so it could move forward and tell its story correctly, I think it was. And it really needed this. And that's what it did. I mean, it set everything up in this first season in 8 episodes, mind you, and did a good job, I think. I think it did a really good job.
Well, yeah, my only complaint about this or Taboo is I think they both should have been 10 episodes. I think we were kind of robbed on that one. This one could have easily been 10 episodes and been just as entertaining, because they did have to rush a little bit towards the end. Still totally satisfied with the comic book ending. We even got a comic book battle at one point. But I love the fact, that the bad guy, because Legion is really powerful. So that's always probably the problem you have with this character and making a compelling story, is like, this guy can beat anybody, and so, but then, you don't want to get in this whole cycle of, well, he's his own worst enemy. I don't want to see that for 5 seasons. I really don't. But that's where the Shadow King comes in, because the Shadow King is badass. And, there's worse things in the world than having the demons in your head be Aubrey Plaza. I wish my demons were Aubrey Plaza. It'd be easier to deal with.
I did like that when Aubrey, basically David has squirreled away the Shadow King into the coffin that the Shadow King had put him in episode 7.
Yeah.
And we see that the only way the Shadow King can get out is by talking to Sid and telling Sid that, if you go through and try to remove me, I'm going to take him down. I'm going to go nuclear, and you either take me, I leave voluntarily, or I just liquefy his brain.
Yeah. You ever try to unmake soup?
Yeah.
That was a great analogy.
Yeah.
And she, and it's like the last temptation of Sid, it's the devil. It's essentially Satan talking his way out, and maybe the Shadow King is a representation of Satan in the X-Men universe. Who knows?
Yeah.
If you've read the comic, which I mean, I read Legion Quest, and I don't remember it, and I remember not liking it very much. So I don't know. That's why I was like, they're making a show out of this. I like the art because I'm a Bill Sienkiewicz fan. That's the only reason I picked it up. But never big X-Men fan. And so, but I am of this show, and I'm glad Aubrey is going to be, at least one form of the Shadow King. And it turns out Lenny never really existed. It turns out Lenny has always been the Shadow King, but it's been, Sid knew Lenny. So was it retroactive that she's always remembered Lenny, or did she know Lenny before? I have to go back and rewatch it.
It's retroactive.
Okay.
She didn't. Yeah. And that's the whole thing. I mean, I think it was when she switched places with David, she became David enough where she retains some of his memories. And so she doesn't know where she begins and he ends, kind of thing.
And I think they'll still mindfuck us with that with Sid too. Because remember in the beginning, we were like, I don't know if Sid's real. I mean, we didn't know what the hell was real at the beginning of the series. And but it turns out, I guess they really were in that hospital. Another great high point for me, Pink Floyd music, which they could just put that in every episode. That'd be totally great. That was, and playing Dark Side of the Moon. Yeah, which had to cost them a pretty penny to get the rights to that song. You just don't hear. It's funny. We were just talking about the King Arthur trailer, and you hear Zeppelin music. You know why you don't hear a ton of Zeppelin and Pink Floyd music in commercials? Because it costs money, but they're also very picky on who they give it to. I know for a long time that Led Zeppelin wouldn't sell any of their music commercially. Maybe it was because they ripped off a bunch of music from people, but I don't know. Pink Floyd didn't, and but Roger Waters, who's richer than God, wants probably a pretty penny for it. We know he loves his art. So, but that was just fucking great. I just like, okay, you win me over forever.
What I found interesting is Melanie Bird when she's talking to the interrogator, and she's mentioning dinosaurs and how the age of the dinosaurs is now over. You better learn how to fly. She's actually being set up as a supervillain here.
I agree. Well, I mean, especially with the events of, okay, for one, when we do a recap, we don't recap the episode. That's why I'm like, I almost don't like to use that word. We review it. We assume that you've watched it. So I'm not going to sit there and go over every plot point with you guys. We just kind of go with it's like we are at a coffee shop and we're just having a conversation about this episode. That's what our podcast is all about, just in case you're wondering. But so with Oliver, with what happened at the end after the big battle in the Black Cloud, which I was like, no, because I love the character, but then that means he's coming back. So she will totally join up with him. She will totally side with him, and probably knowing that the Shadow King is in his head. But a part of him is still Oliver.
Even before, he took over, before the Shadow King took over Oliver, she was ready to go full on blown Magneto, is what I was getting.
Totally. Yeah.
She was talking to the interrogator. It's like, we've got David on our side now. Fuck y'all, because we're going to take over now at this point.
Yeah. Well, even the Shadow King tried to warn David. He's all, that bitch's secrets have secrets. So no, she's, I totally, she almost looks like they make her look like the White Queen. Yes, they do. So I think that they're trying to make us think of that, and maybe they're setting up like a new Hellfire Club. That's
what I was thinking.
Yeah, I was thinking they're setting up a new Hellfire Club. I really do believe now that this is going to be part of the resetting of the X-Men universe, and this is like a long game that they have planned out. I don't know who's behind this. I know it's not Bryan Singer.
No,
but it and I'm totally down with this. I think if they launch it from here and go do movies or more TV shows, I'm more of a fan of TV shows. I'd rather see a 10 episode show than a movie every 3 years personally. I don't need big set pieces. I'd just rather see more superheroes, and especially done in an interesting way like this. But
also, Carrie Loudermilk, when the Shadow King takes over Carrie, and she goes into where Melanie Bird is, and she goes, hello, and she does the fingers and goes bang like that, and Melanie goes down. That was a new power that we haven't seen from Carrie, that the Shadow King unlocked. Or was that the Shadow King using the mind power to kind of...
I think that was the Shadow King using its power right there. I don't know. That's a good question.
Because supposedly the Shadow King can only use the powers of the people that's taken over, right?
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know. That one, I don't know. I'm sure there's an X fan out there who can tell us. We know a couple. Yeah, I thought she was dead too. I thought, oh, they're gonna kill her off.
Yeah,
sucks, But yeah, I didn't think anybody would really die this episode. Although we didn't see Mr. Flingy Man in the last episode.
well,
so
he died.
He did die. Okay, so he did die.
We saw him get buried in episode 7.
Yep. Oh, we did. Okay. See, I didn't even catch that. Okay, that was at the end. That's right. Okay, I gotcha. I was paying attention. So, what's to come? I heard today that they got picked up for 10 episodes next season, so that's nice. Very, very good. Now, and this is going to be more of an outward battle thing. So we're out of David's head, and that's very, very good. But they have to. I mean, you can't not bring in Professor X somehow. So I'm going to go back to the Patrick Stewart talking about saying he would do it. I think if he says he's going to do something, you should do it. Although that doesn't always work out that way.
I think that TV stuff will be easier on him than the movie stuff.
Oh, I think so too.
Yeah,
it'll probably be just a quick appearance anyway. I can't imagine it doesn't need to be anything huge. I don't know how it's going to fit in with the Logan timeline. I just hope everybody realizes out there that the Logan timeline will probably not count or get wiped out, which is fine, whatever. I just don't know how they're going to bring in X-23, which they obviously want to do at some point, but they can't have her be a little girl either. Yep. So I don't know. Maybe they'll just do the girl Wolverine thing. Who knows? But it also left some things open. It left some things wide open that I kind of wish they would have resolved. They quickly resolved the Carrie and Carrie thing, the louder, and it sucked. You knew Oliver was gonna either die, or I actually figured he would get taken over by the Shadow King.
Yeah.
Taken. As soon as he said, "Oh, Melanie," I'm like, "Oh, that's it. It's over." And I love that they did a stinger, a post-credit scene. But
remind me again what that was.
The post-credit scene was the little camera that scanned David and sucked him in. Did you miss that part?
I missed that part. Yeah.
It's after the credits. So after they resolve everything, he's on the balcony with Sid, which is weird because there's a body hanging in the background, I don't know if it's a dummy or something, and it looks like maybe the Division 3 guys were, I don't know, dead in there or still hung together. I don't know. And they were just sitting there chatting hey, what are we going to do now? And remember when the interrogator's husband, he was part of, I guess that's a different division. Yes. So that was Division 2 or Division 4 or whatever it was.
Division 7. If I
and they wanted to send in the equalizer. And I guess that equalizer was maybe that little, or maybe it belongs to the equalizer. There was a little camera and it scanned David and sucked him in. And he's trapped in. He's all, "Get me out," and then that's how it ended.
Oh shit! I didn't see that at all.
Yeah,
I was watching on the app. So
it was on the app. It was on.
I gotta go back. I gotta go back and watch it.
It's right after, because they do 2 credit scenes. They do the whatever song they end on it, and then they do all the crew and all the post people and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know how I felt about that. I was like, I wish they would have shown like who launched the camera. It ended a little too quick for me. That's all I'm saying. I still loved it. It was still great. It was still way better than I thought it would be. To me, when I was watching the trailers, the impression I was getting was like, okay, this is going to look real pretty and it's going to be stupid because Bryan Singer's name's on it. But I was completely wrong, and I am in love with the show, and I will be there opening opening night when it premieres. I will be there. We will be podcasting about it when it premieres, and just when you think comic book TV is dead, but then I'll watch
from the astral plane.
Yes, he does. Well, then I'll watch Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and get discouraged again. I don't know.
Hey, they're bringing Madam Hydra into Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
About time.
Yeah.
About damn time.
She can't show up anyplace else, so.
No. Why not? Well, I mean, it seems like they're kind of, I don't know. I don't know where they're going with the movies after Infinity War. That's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
We're going to see. I'm just going to enjoy it while it lasts. What were your highs and lows of this episode?
My highs, let's see. I would have to say when David just kind of grabs all the Division 7 guys and puts them all in a big pile, like a big snake pile, and just kind of walks away.
Yeah, they're all
I don't know why.
That was funny. That was a good effects scene too. I like it.
That was a really good effects scene. And my low was missing the stinger. I didn't know there was a damn stinger at the end there.
Yeah, you got to go back and watch it now.
Yeah.
Yeah, my low was I was watching it on the Sling. My high point was definitely the battle at the end. With the psychic energy and just I fall back to the comic book shit every time, and I just loved, and they just ran into each other, and I thought that was really cool comic booky scene. The low was when I'm watching the fucking Sling app and I accidentally hit stop at the 45-minute mark, and I had to fucking watch the whole goddamn show over again, which was fine. I didn't mind doing it, but I'm like, motherfucker. And it was like right before the end. It was right when Oliver like gets hit by the cloud, then walks out and is singing a song and gets in his car and drives away. I'm like, what the fuck? And I hit stop, and then I'm like, oh shit, I gotta watch the whole thing again. So that was all right. No, but it ended a little too quick. That was it. But FX is doing good. We got Taboo and Legion are both freaking great shows, man. So yeah, totally happy.
I am too.
Yeah, if you're looking for a bunch of hate from this podcast, not happening.
No,
not happening. So yeah, we can just make this a short one. We can end it there. We've got to record a whole other podcast after this.
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do. The flagship podcast with lots of news. And I need to cut it short because I just got back from a 10-day road trip, like I said, and I'm fucking tired. So.
Oh, come on. You look bright and perky.
Oh, don't I? Yeah, right. I showered yesterday. All right. So you can find all of our podcasts at nerdrotic.com. We are currently live on YouTube, which is the Nerdrotic channel. We have a Facebook page. It's the Nerdrotic podcast. Please, on all of that shit, like us, comment. You can do it on our website. You can do it on the Facebook page, and you can do that on our YouTube page. We also are on iTunes and Podomatic. Please subscribe, comment, say stuff. Bad or good, don't really care. Doesn't bother me. This is a hobby. We will be back with Legion next year. We will be back. Our next recapping show will be The Expanse, which we are going to do. We're going to get back to doing it on Wednesday because I'm back and we need to be on it in this Wednesday. That's only got 3 more episodes. After that, we're going to do weekly recaps. John and I are going to be doing Doctor Who, my favorite show. And we also have our flagship podcast, which is our main podcast, which is going to be hitting episode 95. We're coming up on 100.
Yes.
We've been doing this for 3 years. We've actually done more than 95. This is probably our 150th podcast, something like that. But for a couple,
more like 200 and some odd podcasts,
maybe, and videos if you can, everything. For a couple guys who have full-time jobs, we just do this for fun. We started the website, and now we got John on board, and things are looking great. I mean, he is the blast of energy that we needed. And oh God, who knows what the future holds? I've got some announcements coming up. We got some prizes coming up. It's
You've got
gonna
Twitter as well, right? You've got a Twitter.
oh yeah, I have a Twitter. Mine is at Nerdrotics. Yours is at DeForce. My wife Melissa's is at Agent Bossy Boots, and John is at John Reed 16. Please follow us and stay tuned. We'll be back. Take us out, Dennis.
Don't let the door hit your ass on the way out, America.
And may the small folks sing songs of your greatness.
Good
Cheers,
night,
everybody.
everyone.
Bye-bye.